In the dark of night, a violent thunderstorm raged above the Peruvian jungle. Below, in the small village of Pucallpa, 17-year-old Julianne Kupka looked up at the sky and hoped that the storm would pass. But it only grew worse, and soon Julianne felt the earth rumble beneath her feet. As Juliana and the rest of the passengers on board Flight 508 awaited takeoff, the pilots made an announcement that sent chills down their spines. They had to wait for the storm to pass because it was too dangerous to fly in such bad weather. Julianne felt disappointed. She had been looking forward to this trip for months. She had been saving up for years to visit her father, who she hadn't seen since she was 2 years old. He was getting married, and she wanted to be there for him. Suddenly, the pilot came back over the intercom and said, "We can't wait any longer. We have to go." Julianne could feel the tension in her mother's hand as they boarded the plane and took off into the stormy sky. Julianne had a bad feeling about this. As the plane climbed, the wind grew stronger, buffeting the small aircraft like a toy. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, illuminating the worried faces of the passengers. Then Julianne felt the plane drop. Before she knew what was happening, she was falling through the air, tumbling end over end. The last thing she remembered was the wind snatching away her backpack before everything went black. Julianne woke up disoriented, her body aching. When she turned her head, she saw the mangled remains of the plane not far away, but it gave her no answers. Where was she? What had happened? Had anyone survived? Julianne didn't know any of those answers, but she did know that she needed to get help. Struggling to her feet, Julianne realized that she was in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and the closest village was at least 2 days' walk away. Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but she pushed it down and started walking toward what she hoped was the right direction. She walked until her feet were raw and bleeding, and then she did something desperate. She took off her t-shirt and, using a stick, drew a big red cross on the ground. Then she sat down under a tree and waited. But nobody came. By the next morning her throat was hoarse from crying out for help, and her stomach growled with hunger. Juliana was scared, but she had no choice but to keep moving. She wandered through the trees, calling out for help, hoping that someone would find her. As the days passed, Juliana's hope began to dwindle. She was exhausted and injured, and she was starting to lose her mind. One evening she collapsed by a river, too weak to go on. Just when she thought all hope was lost, she heard a sound that made her heart leap. It was the distant sound of human voices. Gathering her strength, Juliana crawled to the bank of the river and waved her arms. The people on the other side of the river saw her and immediately rushed over to help. When they asked her how long she had been there, Juliana didn't know what to say. She had lost track of time. But the people who found her estimated that she had been in the jungle for at least 10 days. They carried her to safety, and then she was taken by helicopter to a hospital in Lima. When doctors examined her, they were shocked. She had no serious injuries, just some cuts and bruises. But what amazed them was her mental state. Despite everything she had been through, Juliana was in good spirits. She had survived a plane crash, a fall from 10,000 feet, and then 10 days alone in the jungle. Doctors concluded that her ordeal had caused no lasting physical or psychological damage. And although Juliana had never considered herself a hero, that's exactly what people began to call her. From surviving a fall from 10,000 feet to spending 10 days alone in the jungle, she had shown incredible resilience and determination. But to Juliana, she was simply a girl who had faced her fears and lived to tell her story. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Until next time.